Hey, good morning, folks. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. We have quite a bit of weather to talk about. We're in the fight right now, the seasonal fight, I call it. Winter versus almost summer. And that's what makes up fall here in Michigan. Hey, good morning, Jenny Steele. So let's get to it. And a gorgeous stretch of weather is my headline, and a wind burst. Now, I'm not talking gales of November type 24-hour storm. I'm talking a cold front that could bring a 45 to 50 mile an hour gust Saturday night or Sunday morning. So if you have say a building project that is out there exposed to the wind, a wall that's not supported correctly or something like that, make sure you are ready for it by late Saturday. Hey, good morning, Mark Ambrosi and John Kleinschmidt and Mark Ashworth. Good morning to you. John Biddle from Northville. Good morning. All right. So, gorgeous stretch of weather. There's the satellite picture, and you can pick out Michigan on the far right. And we go through Wisconsin and Minnesota, the Dakotas, all with sunny skies. And that should lead us to at least through Friday with sunshine on the way. Okay, now I feel like I always have to apologize for myself and for meteorology that, I show you a lot of squiggly lines on a map, but I'm sorry. That's the way the weather data is. So the best I can do is explain to you what's on this map, and then you know why it's so important to us meteorologists and to you. So you first got to pick out the U.S., and then you got to pick out a few states that you see underneath the squiggly lines, and then your eyes will go to the Michigan, and you kind of know where you're at. That's the first step. Second step is the black lines are the pressure lines showing us where the storm systems are. Doesn't mean a lot to you, but it does to me. And I point out what's important to you on that, put it into perspective. Then you also see red lines and blue lines. That's warm air versus cold air. That's kind of pretty easy to pick out with the eye. And then finally, you see these areas of green and blue and orange and red. And those are 6-hour precipitation totals, telling you if it's going to be stormy and nasty. So here we go. And the thing you should pick out on this is that there's plenty of cold air up in Canada, and there's plenty of warm air still in the US. So we go through today, and it's a great day. Light wind and sunshine and very comfortable. Great day. And then we go to tomorrow, and it's a fantastic day. A storm system developing north of Montana, north of North Dakota, and that's the pump, so to speak, for warm air coming our way. Now we're into Thursday, and we're into a southwesterly flow. High pressure center on the East Coast, storm out west. We're in the southwesterly flow. We are warm at that point for this time of the year. Normal high at that point would be about 50 degrees. Hey, thank you, Amber Stranahan. Appreciate that very much. If you could share, I would appreciate that very much. And good morning, Ron Odell from Melvin. I'm not sure I know where Melvin is. Where is Melvin? All right, so we're into Friday morning, Friday afternoon. Lower Michigan still into a warm flow. We're into Friday evening. The UP starting to get wet as that front approaches, but notice the wave of low pressure developing along it on Saturday morning out in Missouri and Iowa and Kansas. That holds the front up for another 12 hours. Now we're at Saturday afternoon. The south, the eastern and southern, most of lower Michigan, still very, very warm. Typically, that's our warmest period right ahead of a cold front. And this is Saturday evening. So breezy, but I wouldn't be surprised to see 75 degrees somewhere, maybe. Then there's the cold front with the wind burst Saturday night, Sunday morning, and it's off to the east. But notice the cold doesn't really make it down into the area. The warmth is still winning out because the next storm system forms and starts the southerly flow once again by early next week. We're back into a warm flow, another cold front. Cold air tries to come down. It does a little bit more, but look at the next storm system. So eventually, these storm systems are going to crash the warm air and bring the cold in, but it might be mid November to late November before that happens. High temperatures today will be gorgeous for 1st of November. Can you believe it's 1st of November? So we're looking at 65. Then we tack on a few degrees tomorrow. I think this model might even be too cool. So the formula for me would be 2 or 3 degrees warmer each day into Saturday. So we're looking at mid upper 60s tomorrow. We're looking at near 70 on Thursday. We're looking at near 70 to low 70s on Friday. Saturday, 70 to 75 degrees. Sunday, the cold front comes through back to the 60s. And then Monday, we start to warm up again. Tuesday of next week, this model going for 75 to 80 degrees, not unheard of. And then the cold front. And by the end of next week, we cool down to the 40s, but that's about 5 to 7 degrees warmer than yesterday. So already it's starting to kind of kill off the colder air behind the frontal systems. These are the maximum wind gusts. So somewhere in, it looks like the Saturday evening, Saturday overnight, early Sunday morning, we can get streaks of 45 to 50 mile an hour gusts. And I just wanted to make you aware of that. And not a whole lot of precipitation going on here. In the UP, you're going to get soaked with that storm system Saturday, a couple of inches of rain. And as the cold front blows through our region in lower Michigan, we're probably talking a quarter to a half inch of weather. There you have it. It's definitely a energy exchange, a storminess pattern starting to develop. Does it work itself off before the cold air starts to dominate? That is the question. It's hard to tell, to be honest with you, but my sense would be that the way the cold is progressing southward 100 miles with each storm system, my sense would be that by the time we get toward the end of November, we could be looking at our first measurable snow. Might be tough in far southern Michigan, might be more northern half of lower Michigan, and that's very typical. But regardless, it's happening, and get out there and get done what you want to get done here in the next 10 days or so. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I always appreciate a share so that people know this is how we cover the weather here at MLive. Sometimes when it's quiet like this, it's just a nicety, but sometimes when it's dangerous weather, I feel like we have a format where we can go long form and explain to you exactly what's going to happen in a lot of places. So thanks for joining me. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Have yourselves a great day.